It's going to be beautiful. Let's go and buy that last vacant building. 250k. Still going to keep us above 1 mil. Absolutely beautiful. And that is all of them checked off now. Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to yet another episode on Good Company with me, Spacefish, and welcome back to our beautiful big company. I think we own pretty much all the buildings on this lot at this point, only one being left, being this here right now, and I think that may change this very day. Because in the last episode, we finally took care of all this automation out here. We got a few more things sorted because it did transpire that we do need a few of these metal rods out here to actually aid our production. So we had to kind of expand it out here, get some more sorting goodness done. And well, with all this conveyor craziness now all over our company here, this should hopefully be running just fine. So the plan is today, for the start of the episode, to actually quickly monitor that everything is correct out here, that we've got everything properly assigned, that all the goods are flowing in at the rates that we need them, no workstation is going to run out of goods, and that hopefully all that is going to be fine. Then we'll hopefully also get a quick sneak peek of how our profitability has developed thanks to all this, because in theory, I think we've exchanged like 9 or 10 employees with like 3 logistics employees out here that do the work for actually getting the materials out to our machines. So that should hopefully be quite good. And once we are sort of happy with how this is all working, it is finally time then to move on to designing a new product, because I think like 2 or 3 episodes ago now, while we were still in the middle of this automation drive for our courier bot assembly, we unlocked the last and final product for our company, being the robotic pipe cleaner. So we will most certainly look at that in just a minute now, but for the start, let's actually get time sped up maybe. Let's see that hopefully everything is going to flow in just right over here. And as you can see, it does seem that all this is actually working just as well as I had hoped. Maybe not. Maybe not, actually. I was seeing the backlog here of all the metal rods and being like, oh wow, we've got quite the surplus out here, but it does not seem that this thing is producing anything currently, which is actually sort of worrying. Did I not connect this machine properly or something? The output slot needs to be empty. Oh no! Oh no! Okay, so we've got a bit of an issue here. Issue being that apparently this whole attached conveyor lift to, attached conveyor lift to machinery, well, not conveyor lift, what are these called? Overhead conveyors. Attached overhead conveyors to machine thingies seem to be working when we have an input, but with this, like, it doesn't seem to work for the output. All this thing may be the wrong way around. Is there, with that little accidental camera glitch, is there any indicators on the... I placed it the wrong way around. Ah, that's a bit of an issue. So we will turn that around, and then hopefully that will work without any requirements to further change that. Let's check it out. It will work. Beautiful. Good thing we are actually checking this out, because that's already the first flaw uncovered. Now we will probably see a bit better how this whole splitting thing is going to work for us. I hope that it is overall going to be just fine in theory. I mean, we ran the numbers, it should mostly be fine. Maybe that we will be slightly under our max production capacity with this machine, but overall I think we should be making enough metal sundries regardless, and you can see that they're starting to stack up very nicely right here. We've got a lot of iron rods in there too. This gear thing is totally overflowing, which honestly was always going to be the case. And yeah, honestly, pretty happy, pretty satisfied with that. The only thing probably being that my workers are a bit slow here actually delivering all the metal that's needed in this corner shelf, but still seems to be fine for the machines. This all flowing in then, that all piling up, but actually starting to backlog now on the conveyors, which is absolutely beautiful too. And look at that profitability, back up to 50k, and that is despite all the materials we are currently backlogging on these conveyors, because once that is backlogged, we will actually use less metal, and that will actually increase our profitability further. That said, 16k now. That's a very fluctuative something. Something being the key to 600 Cs, which I'm not too happy with, but we'll have to maybe look at that in a minute. Pair 3 is also being very fluctuative. Bots also being very... Why? I guess the bots honestly may still just be trying to grapple on with everything, but I don't see any shortages here, which is great. Everything seems to be working just fine. We've got more than enough of everything as far as I can say. And we can maybe also monitor kind of the goods development in this big shelving rack, because honestly, if we have overflows and we start to have overflows, we may as well just place one more assembly table out there and get that going a bit quicker. So we'll see. I'm not quite sure with the output frequencies of all these things, but we've got more space now. We can probably look back at optimizing that soon, but for the time being, I'm really happy because all this is stacked up so nicely that I am not having a single bit of a worry with how this goes. Now, one thing that apparently we also just crossed is the 6th milestone. We're now working on the 7th, which just gives us some cubic art and more market demand on markets level 1 to 5, which is also going to be crazy. But this thing here gave us now the analysis station and the research lab, which means in theory that we can make our research and our analysis way more effective. That could mean that I could kind of just fire some people. Could also just take it as we can research even quicker. Kind of split on that at the moment, to be honest, because I don't know, we've got so much stuff. The question here being, we cannot actually upgrade this research desk apparently, which is interesting, to say the least. So, I guess there is a crazy difference in size or something? Oh yeah, is it using... It's using 4 tiles, is it? As opposed to the 3 tiles that a usual research table would use. So we would only be able... Well, we would only be able to cram less research tables into there, basically. Over here, it should not be... No, it's also a bit of an issue, because we only have 2 spare tiles. I think we'll have to change the setup for that, but one way or another... Hello? Hello? May have bugged out the game here, to be honest. Let's try and select something else. No. Okay, there we go. That fixed that. So, we'll have to think about it. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a manual process, and it's going to take us some time, so I'm not going to do it now. I promised you all that we're going to look at some product design, so that's what we're going to do for now. And, well, then we will maybe look at that very soon, though, because, I mean, faster research, faster analysis is always a good thing, and we've got, like, another 2 milestones here remaining, which are like 25k and 40k in research data, so that's honestly quite a lot to actually cross off. And I mean, we've got a lot of things left here as well that we kind of want to research, so may as well take the boost and speed, I suppose. Just to look at things, though, do I see... No, I don't see how much way faster is. Yeah. I don't. I'm not going to see, like, I could probably experiment with it myself with my own tune, but other than that, I'm not going to see. Only thing I want to check real quick, analysis station, is this bigger? Oh yeah, that's bigger as well. Oh wow. That's like, is that a 3, can we zoom in a bit? Is that a 3x3 square? Instead of a, yeah, okay, so that's way bigger too. We'll have to see how to do this, to be honest. I'm not quite sure yet. That's going to be something that we have to find out. Also, we still have this mechanics workbench right here. I think I used that to make conveyors for myself once, but technically we don't really quite need that anymore, given that we've got this whole thing down there going with the automated conveyor part thing. So I think we'll just get rid of it. Bye. And, well, get some money back that way. Also, something that we will probably eventually start saving money on is... this stuff down here, because we're spending a lot on conveyor parts, most definitely. Like, all these resources cost us a lot of money. Once that is all full here, and that starts to backlog, we're going to save a lot of money. Like, you all got to take into account we're making 50k a month right now, tops, while at the same time pulling in incredible amounts of materials to actually manufacture incredible amounts of things that we're not actually going to make profit off of. At least not anytime soon. So, just food for thought right there, but that should probably be pretty good for us in the future. That said, before we actually go and design the product, as I already hinted away this episode, we're going to actually finally buy the last building, I think, in this whole huge lot, which is already, to my knowledge, a bit bigger than the first one you got for your production. So, gonna have that checked off. It's gonna be beautiful. Let's go and buy that last vacant building, 250k. Still gonna keep us above 1 mil. Absolutely beautiful. And that is all of them checked off now. No achievement or anything. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how many achievements there are yet on Steam, or if there is any, but didn't get an achievement for that. One way or another, though, we do own the entire huge factory now, and holy moly, that's a huge delivery area. Could come in handy. We'll see about that. But one way or another, I think we'll probably need some of the central building too to actually outsource some of that production too. That has a lot of these conveyor holds, so that should hopefully not be all too hard. That said, let's get to the product design. That is not the product design. And let's actually check out what we need. I'm kind of expecting, honestly, that given that this is in the first phase and given our status of research, we will probably have like some huge case and like 2 parts in it, basically, to fulfill the demand on the market right now. So we'll see about that. Let's go to the blueprint designer, and here is our robotic pipe cleaner. And as we already apparently did that. Wow. Okay. I may have forgotten. As you all remember, last week we didn't have good company for once. We had Rise of Industry. So it's been a bit since I recorded that, but apparently we've already even done the blueprint. So, that's easy enough, I suppose. We can then kind of, honestly, get to getting the production going. So, that said, the only thing I've got no clue about just yet is what in the world I will name this thing. Kind of looks like a worm, doesn't it? But worm is not really the most creative name for this. Let me think about this for 1 second. Alright, I've been thinking about this for a minute now, and for me it really kind of resembles the sandworm that you see in like the Star Citizen trailers, and I think that's also part of some sci-fi novel or something, but just calling the sandworm seems a little bit like meh to me. I don't know. So what I think we will do actually is I'll keep it unnamed for the time being. If any of you have an idea of a really good name for it, like sounds a bit cooler than just sandworm, please let me know down below in the comments, and if not, then hopefully I will know what to call it in the next episode. I mean, we could also look at redesigning, but I don't know. Cleaning the cleaning fish. I think that's gonna be that's gonna have to be a product eventually. But we'll start out with this one, and then once we actually make a perfect version of it, then I think we'll move on to it. In terms of coloring, well, I honestly think this actually kind of looks cool for a cleaning fish. So I think we'll start with the fresh clementine for this thing, and we'll go for the seagrass when we get to the cleaning fish. But what we'll do is we'll leave this blueprint in draft for the time being. We'll just start setting up the production of all the other things before moving on to the decision on that. So I'm kind of thinking what to place where currently, because the thing is that logic circuits in my mind would be something to pretty easily automate. And if we were to automate logic circuits, I would probably place it in the central building, because we can just ferry things back and forth with conveyors rather easily without having to worry about it. Then we've got the medium DC motors, which, well, they require mechanical parts, for which we could automate the gears in the central building too, but the rest of it I would probably make in here. And the double battery stack's not automatable at all. For the single jointed segment, that's also mechanical parts and rods actually. So single jointed segments and medium DC motors should probably be close to each other, while logic circuit and double battery stack we don't have to care about. Then we've got the chassis, which is the hardened bot chassis, which I'm pretty sure we can actually not automatically produce, right? Bot chassis were not, wait, I think I just saw it there as well. I'm pretty sure bot chassis were not automatically producible, but I think the game also told us here We can only make it on a basic workbench or a welding table, so that is going to have to happen in the factory. We do need a metal board chassis for it though, for which we also need metal sundries. So given that we need metal rods for the other thing, we can connect it with that. I think here is the plan, alright? We've got some metalworking stuff to do, and we've got some logic circuit stuff to do. Now, this cannot all be in the same corner of this building. So I'm thinking the metalworking stuff we will eventually place here. The logic circuit stuff goes here. Then this whole part right here becomes casing, becomes motors, and becomes these, is it single jointed segments that those were called? Let me double check the name. Yeah, so that is all this mechanical metal-y stuff. Logic circuits go in here, battery stuff goes in here, assembly goes right there next to the delivery area. I think that is about the way that we have to do it. So, with that said, that is going to be quite complex in terms of where we actually end up placing things. I'm just going to start random placing a few things, and then we'll probably tinker with where exactly I set them up at the very end. So these pallets, actually the other one as well, I can really just sink into here. That ends up giving me a bit more space, probably. And I think I will just get one more courier pallet out here to actually go and feed all the other stuff. Actually, we've got one conveyor out right here, which we could just bring all the way to over here and bring into here. And just ferry the metal needed for all the metal stuff to over here that way. Which I actually think is quite the good thing. So, I'm pretty sure we're going to do that. Just got to kind of think for a second here. We'll have to have a shelf, we'll have to have a storage, no, not storage, we'll have to have a retrieval segment, and then the conveyor goes out to here. So, retrieval segment, storage, then we can place this thing right here. We will have the shelf accessible right here, basically, for the logistics workers. Then we'll have a retrieval segment that gets the metal out of there, and we will kind of have the conveyor then heading... Can I? Oh, that's blocked. Okay, so we'll have to kind of head around like that, and the conveyor just will get going all the way around here. Actually, let me kind of change that to this tile. Very hard to say, but I think it's going to be here. Alright, and then I'll just kind of go all the way out. We'll probably have like a overhead conveyor somewhere here, so everybody can still move through, especially those people that have to supply things to down there. Could actually be in the way, so maybe we'll do a little curve here and then, you know, eventually have it go in there. That's going to be the metal part of things, so... Can I just... Yep. That's going to be all metal. Just a huge pile of metal, basically. That's going to be the first thing taken care of. Then, we will have the battery stuff out here. This will be my cell pallet, I think. I also, by the way, before I forget, let's turn that off, please. And let's also turn this off, because otherwise everything's going to get utterly messed up with all this crazy setup. So that's going to be the start of that. Then we've got this courier pallet right here, which I'm pretty positive we'll just use as our buy pallet for all the battery stuff. And the battery stuff is probably going to kind of go over here. We've got some conveyor parts in here. Theoretically, I don't think we're going to use those, to be honest. Unless... we want to kind of save on logistics employees and just have a conveyor go over here that puts into a big shelving rack, and then my assembly workers just take it out of that. That could be an effective way of actually lowering the amount of logistics workers we need. And it could also allow us to keep this as two separate logistics zones instead of one big one, so that logistics workers can focus on one or the other thing and don't have to walk all over this place back and forth for their assignments. So... that may be a good thing to do, thinking about it. That may be a good thing to do. Now, what did I put in here? The double battery stacks? I think it was only double battery stacks, wasn't it? It was something super simple. Yeah, so we need battery. Okay, so basically, what we need for that is going to be 4 chemical tables, and that's it, I think. So, we'll start that out right here, I think. We will not need, well, we will actually maybe need this to get the logic circuits in, or we could just use this to get the logic circuits in, and this to transport our other products. I'd say, what other products did I say we had? We had the motor, we had the cases, okay, I mean, you could just transport it through the middle of the factory right there, to be honest. We don't necessarily have to use that. But basically, I mean, we just need 4 chemistry tables. Like, we can just do it like this, I suppose. Yeah, we can just do that. Boom. We've got an assembly line. Now, of course, you know, I don't want to overdo it right now in terms of frequency, honestly, because this product is not going to stay that simple. The more the market phases move on, the more we're going to have to upgrade, and if we upgrade, that means that in the very end we will require more space again. So I kind of want to make sure that I don't use all the space yet, even though I have this building right here to play with. I kind of don't want to overdo it and that one over here either. But for the time being, we're going to do battery stacks right here. We're going to do double battery stacks right there. Pretty much easy as that. And I'm not going to hire any workers yet. We're going to do that when we're actually done, because I'm kind of assuming that this will take us a tad bit to actually finish. And also, we will probably have to wait for some conveyor parts, because given my current idea for this place, I think we'll need a lot of conveyors. Like, we'll have this middle conveyor here. We've got all the automation stuff right there. That's got to all be ferried back to right there. We've got the metal, like the conveyors going back and forth between here. And then potentially we're going to ferry stuff over from here to actually make logistics a bit easier. So I think it's going to be a long list of conveyors to build, and 55 that we have in there are pretty surely not going to be enough. That said, this is the battery stuff right here. So what we need is going to be chemicals and plastic, which we are going to go and provide for. And also, we will actually have to find a way to ferry in the construction materials needed for the logic circuit, so we will probably use this thing for just that purpose then. Alternatively, I don't want to put a conveyor belt all the way through here, because it honestly wastes a lot of space. I'd rather have logistics employees move back and forth, I think, at least for the time being. Now, logic circuits, though, we're going to have to quickly check out what input materials we will need for those, so let's have a look at that. As you can see, electronic parts, plastic parts, and circuit boards. Now, circuit boards, plastic parts, we'll actually have to make somewhere before ferrying those over, but I think we could theoretically honestly make them over there still. I honestly kind of want to keep this building right here for automation, preferably, and do all the manual work in the other. I think that just structures it a bit cleaner. But one way or another, that means we will also need metal on this pallet, and we will also need electronic parts on this pallet, wherever they may be. There. Okay, so that is the plan for this pallet. Now, we're gonna up, of course, kind of our in orders right here. And, well, honestly, given that these need to be ferried all the way over, I'm just going to up that a bit more, and then we can honestly keep it that way. That is going to be totally fine. That's all the input materials that we need for that sorted. Now, the next thing on the list is going to be actually making all the... Well, actually, circuit boards are an automated thing, aren't they? So circuit boards should honestly be kind of easy, the only question being, I kind of need plastic parts ferried over too. So potentially we will actually need both these outs and both these ins right here. Okay, well, plastic parts, one way or another, we will have to make here, and I think we can actually make it with a precision workbench. We can. So I think we can actually use a door as an out too. So we can keep that one unused to actually ferry materials through. From the other side of the factory, we'll have one go through here, which honestly can just be instantly put in. Okay, so we'll make plastic parts on this thing basically, right? The way that we're going to approach this here, though, is we're going to put a corner shelf, I think, if we can. Yeah, that should be good. Like that, yeah. Let me grab some conveyor parts. I just want to see that this actually works, what I'm planning right here. So we will grab these, right? We will go up here, and on this corner shelf, basically, we will put a automatic retrieval segment that goes out to here. I'll have a conveyor belt, and I can start that there indeed. So that is Nice and beautiful, and that's kind of going to be the way that we ferry out our plastic parts. And then we have got this other thing where we are just going to go and put a shelving rack right here. We will put a automatic retrieval segment right there, and we will then just kind of get going with that conveyor out here. Beautiful. Okay, and that's kind of how we are gonna move all our input materials over. The only concern actually being how I move the electronic parts separately now, because I have to have, I think I need to actually block all three of these if I think about it. But then again, how do I move them all in? I guess I have this big door right there. I could also just use this door here. Why am I not using that? It's actually a good question, isn't it? That's actually a very good question, honestly. Okay, I think we're going to redo that slightly. We are going to redo that. Like, I always miss the doors somehow here, but like the doors are just nicely and easily usable for us. Like, we can just do something like that and duplicate that basically for our electronic parts. Because that needs to be on separate conveyors, of course, since like the one goes into the one assembly machine, the other goes into the other assembly machine. Then we'll kind of have an automatic retrieval segment right there, and that's going to be the way these conveyors actually will move out then. And then we're just going to move that whole deal as well, and that way we're going to actually free a cross-factory logistics route, which could in the end play out to be very helpful for us. So we're going to move all that basically. We're going to put a new conveyor right here, and that's that whole deal sorted. Now we can just move that straight down there, through there, and these through there, and we'll set up our machines, and at the very end we'll have a machine that makes logic circuits. That comes out here, and the logic circuits go back in here into an automated storage thing, and well, then that gets ferried over. Easy as that. Beautiful. Okay, so that is, I think, some first steps then made towards actually setting up the production for our newest product. But with that said, the time's unfortunately come to an end for this episode, so I'll have to end it off right here. As I said previously, if you do have any naming ideas for this robotic pipe cleaner, please let me know down below. Would very much like to hear you guys' feedback down below in the comments. Maybe you have some better naming ideas than me. And, well, that's going to be it. So with that said, as usual, thanks so much for watching. Please make sure to hit the like button down below if you haven't done so already. That always helps out the channel a ton. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, please also consider hitting that subscribe button right down below, as well as that bell icon to make sure you stay up to date on all those future upcoming episodes. And with all that out of the way, everyone, as usual, thanks so much for watching, and I hope I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.